Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, January 2nd. I'm sorry. And welcome to the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of the fantasyfootballfanatics.com. I'm your host, CJ, the Hitman Hickman. I am joined with a very sovereign, very sad, very disappointing Griffin Palmer and my man, Jason Cabrera. Guys, what's up?
Ugh.
Man, we got like 3 words into this intro. It was already off the rails, man.
I don't know if we even got 3, honestly.
What's going on?
It's not good. You know, my Ravens
No.
winning in. In fact, a series of 3 or 4 things had to happen for them to miss the playoffs, and they shot themselves in the foot there. So not happy. I mean, in reality, this team with that crappy offense felt more like a 9-7 team than a 10-6 team, but. Yeah, just icing on the cake of what has been just crap. So, not surprised.
Crap cake.
And then,
I mean, you got to know something was going to turn. I mean, look, you did very well in fantasy, but this is just the heavens looking at you and say, hey, that's enough.
I can't
that's
have it all.
Success for you. That's enough success.
They can't have it all.
Did I have too much in the 2012 season when I had it all? Then
it's too much.
Won all my championships.
Abundant of riches. It's
got
time to spread it out.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you complaining about? Anyway, Griffin? You won a championship. You won in our big major league. CJ's got nothing to complain about. His team is first seed all the way home with field advantage. And what do I got?
Dynasty League championship.
You got that, and
the one league that I won in is the league no one was paying attention to.
No, I was paying attention to it, And then, hey, guess what? And we're going to get into the news. You got some good news coming your way.
Is it good?
I don't think we do.
Well,
I don't think we do.
I think it's all bad news.
No. Well, it depends.
News imaginable coming my
way. It depends how you look at it. You knew a change was going to come. It's better to have it now than later, right?
I'm looking at it through the lens of reality, unfortunately, and it hurts. It hurts my eyes.
Wow.
Making me squint.
Well, yeah. Well,
it's a dark show.
It's that time of year.
Not for you.
Look, end of the day, 31 teams and all their fans are going to feel like we do right now. So CJ's riding high right now in real life football, but it is what it is. So with that, I guess we'll move on. Today we do have an amazing show for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about all the top headlines from around the league. A lot of news has come out, just like as we predicted, less than 24 hours after the league year ended, and man, some big things have happened. So yeah, not all were expected. We had heard some guys were safe. Turned out not to be the case. We thought other people were going to be on hot seats and maybe be gone. As of now, they're still there. So we'll touch on some of that, and we'll go into some of the stuff of why we're here, our topic of the day, where we're going to be talking about basically some of our hot takes from the 2017 season. So before we get to that, please make sure you guys subscribe wherever you're listening on iTunes and Stitcher and Podcast Addict and YouTube and all over the place. Basically, just search for The Fantasy Football Fanatics. You'll probably find us. And if you want to support the show, get yourself bonus content every single week. Yes, we do 3 shows a week, all off season long. But you want that third show, you have to go to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics, along with many other bonus perks, many of which are soon to be announced, which is kind of fun. And with that, I guess we'll start with a warm-up. Besides the crap football CJ, even you didn't have a great football weekend. Your Eagles lost. But
yeah, it was kind of a waste of time.
How was New Year's for you guys? You guys have fun? You have a happy holiday?
I had one silver lining for me, and that was the look on Pete Carroll's face as that Walsh kick sailed wide. I was so happy. I was so happy just looking at his face. He's so flabbergasted. How could they beat us again? I'm like, yeah, that's what happened.
Glorious.
And now we're 8-8.
Wow.
Glorious victory.
Glorious.
Your saltiness and pettiness has no limits.
Yep.
You know what? Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment.
I know, right?
that is a compliment. I love it.
Pretty nice.
My day was pretty cool. Watched some college football. Got a first workout of the new year, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good day.
That's good. I just kind of stayed home with some friends and watched the ball drop. Watching some TV. Got some New Year gaming in today. It was a fun little time.
Watching the Ravens. That's what was going on. The ball was just dropping again.
Oh,
not that.
Shots.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wrong.
Shots, semi-automatic. Oh my goodness.
So
Sorry, I was
so
just too easy. I had
uncalled
to pick
for.
it up.
Jeez, man, there's so many drop balls. That was the coldest game in Ravens history. Just saying, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's been
Yeah,
it's
I
been
understand.
crazy, man. It's been nuts. They were showing like the water on the sideline in one of the games, and they were like freezing in the cups. It was nuts.
Yeah, crazy. All right, well, I guess with that, we'll move into our top headlines from around the league, and we'll start in Arizona, where head coach Bruce Arians
not.
has decided to retire and call it a career. Trickle-down effect from this, of course, goes to Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald. They, of course, signed a one-year contract, but there's a lot of reports saying that they don't know which way he's going to go because they don't know if he's going to want to return for another year, for one more season, having to learn a whole new system with a new coaching staff. Might just call it a career, but nothing official as of yet. Obviously, Jason, this is your team. You're more plugged in than we are. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I just,
I see it happening personally.
what I see happening is I wouldn't be surprised if Carson Palmer called it quits and didn't play another year now that Bruce Arians is gone. Fitzgerald, I honestly think he'll play another year. He's still playing at an extremely high level, and he still loves it and all that. So I wouldn't expect Larry to call it quits. But with Bruce Arians walking out the door, I think Carson Palmer will probably go with him. I just got to say this as a Cardinals fan, unless you've been on a team that has been as bad as my team has been throughout our existence, we became a professional football team in 1898. We are one of the two charter teams of the National Football League. In other words, we're the oldest franchise in the NFL. And in all that time, in all that history, there has been one coach that has won 50 games. And it took him 5 seasons.
Yep.
So Bruce Arians will be missed sorely. And I highly expect for this team to get really bad really quick for probably about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and only been to, just the one Super Bowl, right?
We've been to one Super Bowl,
And you lost that one to the Steelers, so...
To the Steelers,
Tough,
in
tough
the last
times.
second.
Though, same thing
And
with Eagles, right?
even in hindsight, I'm sorry, Jason, just to reveal this and put back the curtain, Griffin was actually rooting for the Steelers in that Super Bowl.
That's all right.
That's crazy.
That was a long time ago.
Ravens fan over here.
And I'll say this: as much as bitter as I was bitter for about 2 years after that Super Bowl. But as bitter as I got to say this: that was one of the greatest Super Bowls I've ever seen.
It was.
That was a good game.
Great Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, has some fantasy impact as well. A lot of Cardinals players that we really like there may not be as fantasy valuable going into next season. We will monitor that as we go forward. In Detroit, the Lions have fired head coach Jim Caldwell. This was somewhat expected. Some were saying, with that win against the Packers, maybe he keeps his job. Nope, he's gone. Owner, let's see. Wait, what am I looking at here? There it is. NFL Network and Rappaport reports that the Lions have requested to interview Carolina defensive coordinator Steve Wicks. So, looking at defensive guys, because they're also looking.
I don't know. I think this team needs to go offense again, man. I mean, Matthew Stafford. He's ever since post Megatron, he's been playing good at a high level. And I think the one thing a couple of things this team is really struggling with is, of course, offensive line to protect Stafford, and then getting a true running back. I mean, they have a bunch of gadget guys back there, with Abdullah and Riddick, and then was it Johnson or Washington? They got back there. It's so you just got a bunch of trio of guys that are kind of like the same player, just different sizes, but they're still gadget type player. They get a true back like a Leonard Fournette or like a Kareem Hunt, or they go into this year's draft. You got Shaq Barrett. He's going to be Shaq Barkley. I'm sorry, that's going to be a top guy out there. But I feel like they get them a true offensive minded guy, and they get them a running back. I think this team is still in a good shape.
Well, they definitely have their eyes on defensive-minded coaches because there's also reports that they have requested to interview New England Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. Patricia. Yeah, I know I'm bad with names. Here we go. I can't.
No, it's okay.
Yay, draft season!
It's that time of the year.
Draft season's the worst time of the year for me.
Guys, one of the greatest episodes you're ever going to hear is
go
through the draft.
Oh
and
my
Griffin has to
gosh.
say every single one of those names.
Ugh.
It's so bad.
It's so dumb, too,
I
because
loved
I
it.
spend
I
so
loved it.
many hours watching these guys breaking down the tape, looking at their projections, their highlight reels, the whole nine. But I'm not learning all these names of people who 90% of
Just
them will
refuse.
fizzle out in 4 years' time. So,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No faith in these guys.
I'm just bad
Yeah,
at it.
no faith.
I have all the faith in the world, but I mean,
You get
some will
better.
make
You'll
it
get
and some
better.
won't. No, I won't. I'm just bad with names I don't know. But yeah, so they're taking a look at two currently playoff-bound defensive coordinators to replace their offensive-minded quarterback coach Jim Caldwell. So yeah,
We'll see.
interesting. In the same field, the New York Giants have also submitted a request to interview New England Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia and their offensive coordinator, talking about the Patriots again, Josh McDaniels, for their head coaching
That's
job.
what I want.
So
That's what I want in Arizona. I want Josh McDaniels.
Yeah,
Bring him to me.
but you got to give him a young quarterback though. I don't think you're gonna.
Well,
I
I
mean,
think that's going to happen now.
Yeah,
honestly,
I think-
with Arians out the door.
McDaniels, he's been a top name that's been talked about the last couple of years, and with his past experience, he's not leaving the Patriots unless he has a prime quarterback that he can be able to grow with, and so he can replicate like what Belichick's been doing with Brady. He's
That's a
just
good
not
point.
budging. He's not budging.
Yep.
well, I guess we'll see.
Colts.
Yeah. Now, by a lot of reports that we are hearing from around the league, that Matt Patricia, the favorite spot for him to land right now, is currently with the Giants. So this will be
Yeah.
this will be
Good defense
interesting.
out there.
Something to monitor. Let's go to Indianapolis, where they have fired head coach Chuck Pagano. Now,
Yeah.
this is one of the ones that we had kind of heard they might give. We thought they were going to hold on to him. They had fired head office officials. We were hearing rumbles that they're going to give him one more year with trying to buff up the offensive line. He never got his quarterback back, so maybe this year wasn't his fault. But nope, they've decided to clean house and they got rid of him too. Now they are also reportedly expected to interview New England Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels.
That'd
Popular-
be a good fit, I think.
That might work.
Popular pick. Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
that would be a phenomenal pickup for them.
Andrew Luck.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that'd be a good combo for fantasy.
That brisket back there just in case.
Just in
Yeah,
case.
got the brisket.
He's got a
Back
rapport. So he knows the system.
Yeah.
It's true.
It'd be interesting. I'm excited to see how this stuff starts playing out in the next couple weeks. And also, owner Jim Irsay indicated that he hopes that the team will use a high draft pick on a running back. So I guess
Oh,
Marlon
really?
Mack
That's
was
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
That's interesting.
Frank Gore,
We'll
he's a timeless wonder, but you have to wonder how much longer. We say this every year, and he proves us wrong. And I guess Marlon Mack's not what they were hoping for.
That's just
I
what
don't
I
know.
say. But did they draft Marlon Mack? So
They
that's
did.
kind of a slap in the face on him.
know,
Huh?
He was a
That is a
fifth
little bit of
round.
a smack in the face. I don't see that happening, honestly. I mean, I see it maybe happening, but Marlon Mack, give him another year, for crying out loud. The guy's been there a year.
I guess
Maybe they're taking a Ravens approach how you guys used to do. You did it with what was that guy that got injured for you?
Kenneth Dixon.
Hit him in the leg with a baseball bat. See how they do?
No, man, disrespect him and then make him play a little better.
Yeah.
Hit him in his leg. Oh my gosh.
Wow. My question is this just super early
What's that?
misdirection
What's that?
for the draft? Is it starting day one?
Could be.
All the coach speak in the world.
Anything can happen
With your
with the
hand.
Colts.
We have to start switching our mindsets. I mean, it's always filtering through the BS, but now it's complete misdirection, even for the fans and the scouts and the whole nine. So, we got to switch gears. I guess we'll get some clarity to this whole situation once they get a head coach in there and we see what his interests are. In Baltimore, the Ravens have not fired. Their defensive coordinator Dean Pease has reportedly retired. Look, great defensive mind. I'm not taking that away from him. He's boasted a number of top 10 defenses in his time with the Ravens and the Patriots. I am one of many in Baltimore who have been calling for this guy to be gone anyway, even with he's really good for the stat sheet. He was phenomenal at this whole bend but don't break philosophy. But the problem is I don't want to be giving up tons and tons of yards in between the 20s. I want, like Chuck Pagano had, which I'm really hoping we go and we pick up Chuck Pagano again to be our defensive coordinator. His philosophy was like the Remember the Titans. We blitz all night philosophy. All these exotic blitzes, always getting after the quarterback, always aggressive. That's just, when you picture Ravens defense, to me as a Ravens fan and talking to a lot of fans around the league, that's how you envision them. Not this, okay, we're going to sit back, be in a zone, be a little bit passive. I just have never liked his defensive style. And look, his passive defensive zone was what got us beat this last week. Fourth and what was it, like 15 or so, and they let the ball go right over their heads. I mean, he threaded the needles. Amazing throw from Andy Dalton, but yeah, right over their heads, touchdown, game's over, Ravens out of the playoffs. So I'm not sad to see Dean Pease go. A great defensive mind, but not my style of defensive play caller. I guess that's fair, right? Is that too harsh? I don't know.
I mean, it's your team, I guess.
I just want Chuck Pagano back. That's all it is. Let's go to Green Bay, where General Manager Ted Thompson will be moving into a new role within the team. We're hearing that they're now in the market for a new GM, so we're hearing it's probably something in the front office, but he's no longer going to be the general manager. Ted Thompson has been the general manager in Green Bay since 2005, so 12 seasons. Some of the top candidates we're hearing are actually internal hires. Here we go. Brian Gutekunst?
Oh my gosh!
I'm just gonna let
How
it
do you
go.
pronounce
I'm gonna
that?
let it go.
How do you pronounce that? Somebody help me here.
I'm gonna say like Dunkirk, like so you just put a G. Yeah.
Gutekunst. I don't know. He's their director of college scouting. He's a candidate. Their director of football operations, Elliot Wolf, is a candidate.
There you go.
Vice president of football administration and player finance, Russ Ball, is a candidate. These are three internal hires that we're hearing. Look, if it's not Gutekunst, I can probably pronounce it. Ball, ball. I can say ball. We say football all the time, so shut up. So
Spanish?
something.
No, I don't speak Spanish.
Ole. But yeah, no. We'll shut up, Jason.
You just take it just a little too far.
There was
you
nothing.
No,
There was
that
nothing
was
too far about
Anchorman
that at all.
reference. That was Anchorman.
That was an Anchorman reference. Thank you, CJ.
Yes, it was.
So, yeah, we'll see how this plays out. If they do intend on going internal or bringing someone in from the outside. Green Bay has also parted ways with longtime defensive coordinator Dom Capers. So, not
overdue.
Not I was gonna say not
Overdue.
surprised at all. This I'm surprised it didn't happen years ago. This has been a bottom of the pack defense for years and years and years.
This defense has been like a bed and breakfast for offenses, so yeah, it is time to give it up.
It's generally a very good matchup. I mean, this team with, as it got to be, actually pretty decent quarterback play from Brett Hundley. They just could not keep their team in games, just giving up tons of points. So, and that's been the case for years. And he's had very good players there. They've been a great opportunistic defense at times, but it's just not been a stout unit. And he's been there for a very long time. So, as CJ said, overdue. Most people from the outside looking in have been saying that for a long time. And now we get to see what direction they go. If they pick up Chuck Pagano, I'm going to be really sad. Let's go also to Denver, where they have decided to keep head coach Vance Joseph. We had heard rumors that he might be one and done there, but he was informed by the team that he will remain in the position for the 2018 season. So something to look forward to there. And a little bit of final news that's league-wide. Cleveland Browns have officially become the second team in NFL history to go 0-16.
Had such promise. They look like they were really about to pull that game out, and they just
My question is, where do you guys think they go from here? Because by all accounts, they're not cleaning house.
Gotta go up.
Well, I mean,
can't go down.
Record-wise, they have to go up. They can't go worse. But yeah, what do you think their moves are going to be? We're hearing that from Monday Morning Quarterbacks Peter King that they are reportedly saying there is, quote, no way that they pass on Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen with the number 1 overall pick, which they will have because they're the worst team in the league.
Right.
So Cody Kessler, one and done.
Not just that; these guys have the 1st and 4th picks.
Yep.
I mean, this is the thing. Okay, as bad as they've been, they could make some moves and they could do a lot of crazy stuff, or they can just keep that 1 and 4 and pick up 2 starters. You know what I mean? And 2 amazing players in the 1st round. I mean, as bad as they've been, their talent level is going to skyrocket this offseason. So I don't think they're as bad as their record.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team, they've shown, and if you go back and you watch the Inside the NFL and stuff like that, you watch back the highlights, you see they're in games. I mean, their defense keeps them in games, and it was just always comes back to this offense. This offense when it comes to the quarterback position, is so inconsistent. They don't have a true leader right there. And this defense, like I've been saying all season, you keep a defense playing the majority of the snaps, they're going to gas, and you're going to put them in bad predicaments, and you're going to lose games. This team, they got Josh Gordon going on. You got Corey Coleman there. You got Isaiah Correll. That's a good running back when everything is clicking. You got protection there. They have pieces there. You got David Njoku, who showed. Yeah, Duke Johnson was there playing a gadget player and was producing. You got David Njoku, who showed highlights, showed promise. So this team has people that can that they're just like Jason said, their talent is better than what their record is. It's just quarterback. If they get them a good quarterback and get them and use that other pick on the offensive lineman, I think this team, like I said, this season can have about 7 or 8 wins. I still believe in this team. They just got to get them a quarterback and get protection for the quarterback.
This is a team that has had 8 first-round picks in the last 4 years. And a lot of that, they had more than that, but they traded back and had really, really high second-round picks as well in mass quantities. So, I mean, like you said, CJ, they are theoretically, if they drafted properly, and even with the eyeball test, they have a lot of young talent there. But, I mean, this is a team that with 3 first-round picks this year and some pretty good signings in the free agency managed to do worse in 2017 than they did in 2016. So, I mean, they've had, one win in 2 years. So, holy crap.
But you know what? I don't think that's going to last. I think after this next draft and after this next offseason, if they have an offseason this year like they had last year, this team's going to be scary real quick because that, like CJ was saying, that defense is stout. I mean, that's a stingy defense. They actually played pretty well, and they're going to get better, obviously. And Myles Garrett, that was his first year, and he was already a monster. You know, give him another year to get the idea of what he's doing, and he's going to be even better. They're probably going to draft a quarterback, either a Sam Darnold or an Josh Allen, and that's going to make him even better. Josh Gordon wasn't there all season. He came in the end of the season, and he looked amazing. David Njoku's going to get better. So, I mean, this is a team that, 0-16, but it doesn't matter because next year it's not going to be like that.
I mean, so what do we think about, what I mean, obviously, if they pick Josh Allen, he's going to be probably their week 1 starter. We think Cody Kessler's a one and done.
Yeah, he's out of there.
So, I mean, but, okay, so let's say they are, okay, what do you guys think, what's the record next year? CJ thought they were going to be 8-8 this year or better.
Yeah, I thought they'd at least be 500, 8-8. I would. Let's see. Give me.
This is okay, and just to make everybody understand, this is what we like to call a way, way, way too early prediction.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but based on the fact that I think they're going to go out and get a quarterback. I think that they're going to, like I said, elevate their game. Give an off season for Josh Gordon to get comfortable with that quarterback, so he's got a nice weapon, and then they're going to upgrade. I say 9-7.
Wow,
9-7.
Substantial jump. So
I honestly, I believe it. I believe they can do that.
You know what, Jason? I'll second that, man. I'm with you. I can see that too.
Okay, so you both think they make a jump to be a slightly better than 500 team. So
we like Cleveland. We like. I know you. This is your division, so you can't. You can't believe in them. You want to keep them down. That's little brother to you. But we like Cleveland. We think Cleveland's got good talent on the team.
So if this team goes like 4-12, 5-11 next year, do you think Hugh Jackson's gone?
Yeah, I think he has. I think that's going to be the scapegoat. Yeah,
because I mean,
like you said, 8 first-round picks. And now you're going to say 10. He's going to have 10 first-round picks. I mean, yeah, you better win.
You got the mob calling your phone. Hello, Hugh Jackson speaking. Hey, Hugh, you better win.
I mean, he sold them on this like 5-6 year rebuilding process to be these champions.
And you know what? It's working.
Well, it's year 2. He's
It's
still got
only-
time.
I know, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, how much are they going to buy into this? Because the only way that you sell this to the fans and the sponsors and everything is that, yeah, we may not be, Super Bowl contender, but we have to at least compete and to go out and go one win and then no wins. I mean, I think if if this is part of the plan,
this is what I'll say. Right. This is what I'll say. Okay. You're talking about Cleveland right now. This is a city that has, if anything else, it's got endless patience. Okay, they went without a championship in any sport for decades and decades and decades. So I think this fan base will wait. I think this fan base sees what's going on. They saw Myles Garrett, last year. They saw what they did with all their draft picks and that off season. I think they'll wait. I think they'll be content to wait at least another year to see how things shake out. And even if they win 5 or 6 games next year, that's 5 or 6 games they didn't win this year. So
right.
I think they may keep him another year if they can do that.
Yeah.
I just don't know because, I mean, he's on this contract. He sold them on this rebuilding process. They went from 1 win to no wins. And I think if they don't even come close to 500, I just see no way that they can continue on the path.
You're thinking like a Raven, though. That's the thing. You're thinking like a Raven.
I'm not.
I'm thinking like a Cardinal, okay?
Cardinals like
are like 5 wins, no wins.
Yeah.
That's an improvement.
And I mean, and I mean, final thought for me on this. And when he's selling them on that, what do you say, 4 to 6 year plan?
4
Listen,
to 5 year, yeah.
4 to 5 year plan. Listen, you got to look at the grand scheme of things and widen out that scope a bit, and not just focus on Cleveland, but look at everybody else in that division. Ben Roethlisberger, hey, he's not getting any younger. Joe Flacco, he's definitely not getting any younger. And then you got the Bengals. Right now, they don't know what's going on with coaching staff, so you don't know what's going to go in there. And then that defense that's been holding that team up, a lot of old vets on that team that's probably going to be getting out of here too. So, I mean, when you look at it, Cleveland has the younger talent. They're going to get a young quarterback in there, and Hugh Jackson, if everything works out right, he's going to have the division all to himself because the rest of the teams, I got to be honest, quarterback play, it's still up in the air.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
We missed a coach, by the way.
Who we missed?
Who did we miss?
Jack Del Rio.
Oh yeah, Del Rio.
I forgot to put him
Oh
on there.
yes.
I can't.
With the swerve. The swerve.
Del Rio.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yes.
Wow. Well, listen.
Honestly, I mean, what an amazing fire because
Yeah.
I mean, literally had a great year last year. And would have had a better year had their quarterback not been injured. And yeah, they had a lackluster year this year. And then they just fire him. It's just like, wow, one and you're done, I guess. That's
I want to. I mean, he's been there. He's been there. What? Well, he's been there like for 3 years. About 3 seasons.
I mean, they made a lot of progress in that time frame. Made them a contender, and then suddenly 1 year, not so great, and then he's gone.
Well, I think when you start hearing a little noise about John Gruden getting that itch and trying to come out that booth, you're gonna make room. You're gonna clean house.
They better hope that they already got him on the hook then, because I guarantee you every team in the league, including mine, is gonna be like, hey John, over here, no, over here, look over here.
You got to pull him, man. He's looking at Tampa right now. He's like,
No, don't look at Tampa. Look over here.
Look at Tampa. Go back over here.
No, over here. Got a really nice office for you, John. A really nice office.
Yeah. I mean, in 3 seasons, he went 25-23, which is not outstanding, but most of that was on the back of, there was a not great year in 2000 and, what was it? Back in 15, it was a building year. A really good 2016 in which, injuries happened and derailed. Derek Carr getting hurt late in the year. And then, again, injuries mostly plague season this year. But, I mean, he's an over 500 coach, which is not the easiest thing to come by in this league. So I was really shocked by this, personally.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I was, too.
John Gruden being pulled out of the booth and by all accounts expected to officially sign with the team. So
yeah,
what he's going to have walking in there, man. He's going to have Carr. He's going to have Marshawn Lynch, who started rounding out to form at the end of the season. like he was supposed to. He's got one young receiver and one vet receiver that are going to be extremely good. And under John Gruden, I think Amari Cooper could be better under John Gruden. So I mean, that could be.
Hopefully, he can find some cojones for him.
Maybe
that could help him.
Well, imagine you're going to have John Gruden in his ear all day, so he'd be better.
It just blows my mind. This was a 12-4 team 2 years ago, and well, what are you gonna do? All right. Well, I guess with that, let's move on to why we are here, our topic of the day. And we're talking about some hot takes from 2017. Now, we haven't done any deep dive analytics. We haven't broken down the numbers. I mean, the season ended less than from when we're recording this. Well, I guess it's a little bit over 24 hours ago from when we're recording this. But, it's still very much fresh. So we're just simply going to take some of our instant takeaways from the season. And remember, this is important to do. We talk about this all the time, to take stock in what happened, write it down, that kind of stuff, so you don't make the same mistakes during 2018 and draft season, whatever the case may be. So with that, does anyone want to go first?
Why don't you start it off, man? I mean, what do you think?
I'll point out something that is, we all felt it. Pretty much. And that is that tight ends were a minefield. Yet again, the tight end position, which looked primed to be just a phenomenal position. Lots of talent in lots of places with a lot of opportunity with head coach and offensive coordinators that were going to feature these guys. Now, whether it be injury, defensive scheming, just underwhelming performances, whatever the case may be, these guys did not live up to their expectations at all. There was only a handful of guys that by the end of the year were even worth their draft stock. So, I mean, I would have to say that my biggest takeaway by far is just the tight end position and how mediocre it was. I mean, Gronk and Travis Kelce are up there in like the 150s in standard scoring. They both broke 1,000 yards. They both had 8 touchdowns. And then it just gets really diluted very quickly from there. Some familiar names, Zach Ertz, Jimmy Graham at your 3-4, and then Evan Ingram breaking the trends, going up there and being your number 5 tight end on the season. Kyle
as a rookie.
As a
rookie.
So, I mean, and that alone, something that hadn't been done it's been done very rarely. I had all the stats broken down before we got into the season, how likely this is for it to have happened. And for that to be the case kind of shows you how bad the rest of the position also was. I mean, there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tight ends in the league that even got you into triple digits, and one of them only did it by half a point. So, man, the tight end position. Now, this begs the question, do you draft them earlier to get some of these hopefully top-tier guys, or do you just kick them to the back of the draft because they don't matter anymore? And that's going to be something worth debating as we move forward. But, yeah, tight ends, wow. Just wow. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Well, listen, my thing this year, what got me and what my takeaway is so many injuries. I mean, you look at the list of players. I mean, you got Deshaun Watson. I mean, you got Allen Robinson, DJ out of Cardinals, Dalvin Cook, Carson Wentz. Some of these injuries. But one thing that was good, and if you paying attention to these shows and other fantasy football outlets, man, handcuffs and waiver wires came through in the clutch. You had injuries with Deshaun Watson. You picked up a Blake Bortles that was playing good towards the middle of the season and definitely towards the end when it comes to championships. You were hurting with Allen Robinson. You go out there and you had your Adam Thielen or you had a Stephon Diggs. Those guys were being pretty good and consistent. And then you were hurting with a DJ and then a Dalvin Cook. You picked you up a nice Alvin Kamara, and he was out there just making points and got even more points when Adrian Peterson was traded. The handcuffs and the waiver wire is so crucial and important throughout the season because look, we all 3 of us wish none of our players are injury proof, but it's going to happen. It's a part of the game. You got to have other options, and you got to be smart and strategic with those options because you might land on a gym, and that gym where you had a diamond, now that gym is taking you to that promised land and taking you to that championship. So that was one of my takeaways from this year.
Oh man, Allen Robinson sunk me in so many leagues this year. He was like my third, 4th round sleeper wide receiver, and Jason, your guy. Take it. I can't even dwell on it.
Dad, don't dwell on it. It's all right. Well, I kind of piggyback off that and say wide receivers were also super inconsistent this year, and part of that was because of the carousel quarterbacks that we had with all the injuries and people being suspended and going out and blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was just a crap show. I mean, in and out, and guys that we thought were going to be great ended up being not great. You know, and that was, for example, out there, Jordy Nelson, out there in Green Bay. You know, you expect this guy to be locked and loaded as a starter every week, and he didn't even get close to being a wide receiver one this year. You know, I mean that's horrible. You know, the same thing with out there in Detroit. You know, you expect a certain guy to be that guy. Well, Marvin Jones was that guy.
Yeah. Golden Tate ended as a number 2. Marvin Jones as a top 5.
Crazy top years.
A top 5, and we were looking for Michael Thomas to be a top 3, and he didn't. And he didn't do that. I mean, he did okay, but again, such inconsistency game to game to game this year with the wide receivers, and a lot of that is due to quarterbacks. So the big takeaway for me is you got to watch the quarterback situation like a hawk when you're talking about wide receivers. You can't. These guys are not matchup proof. Pretty much nobody in the wide receiving core, I'd say, is matchup proof except for maybe the top 2 guys.
Well, off of those notes, I'll wrap up talking about the quarterback position. I'll talk about, yet again, something I talk about all the time, and that's how viable streaming the quarterback position is. I mean, here we have, if you look at, you know, we always talk about how we do a 6-point per passing touchdown league, and in your top 3, you have Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Guys, Carson Wentz didn't even play the last 3 weeks, and here he is as a top 3 quarterback, and a guy who was widely
top
undrafted. Not to where I'm looking, top 3.
Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Alex Smith, then Carson Wentz.
Nope. I have Carson Wentz at 347.74 and Alex Smith at 347.18 in standard scoring with 6-point per passing touchdown. I don't know where you're looking.
I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at.
Folks,
okay.
let this be a lesson to you not to throw your teammates under the bus. Let's not.
Well, no, it's one of those things where different websites have different recordings, so depends on what we're using. But that's how razor close it was. But either way, Carson Wentz, Alex Smith, both these guys were probably waiver wire pickups. Then you've got some more names you might expect: Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford doing really well, Kirk Cousins doing really well. He's going to get a contract somewhere. I can't wait to see where. Denver, maybe. Phillip Rivers doing well, Ben Roethlisberger, Jared Goff, a guy who definitely wasn't drafted, Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, Blake Bortles, a guy who wasn't drafted. And here we are, these are your top 12 guys. So it's just one of those things, and this is final finishes, much less week-to-week streaming against good matchups. I'm going to go back and crunch all the numbers and see if you would listen to our advice on streaming candidates week-to-week, where he would have placed among the quarterbacks, because it's completely viable, and we were very often correct on our starts of the week. So, I just want to point out that for me, in my draft strategy, and this is where we philosophically generally get into fights as a show, I believe in waiting for the late-round quarterback, you guys not as much. And this season, I think, further proved that it's a viable strategy. Maybe not the end-all, be-all, but viable. CJ, you go.
You were right. I will say you were right this year. There's a lot of top 10 guys in fantasy for quarterback position that were most likely off of the waiver wire and free agency. So I will give you that. Good day to you, sir.
Thank you.
All
sir.
right. So mine is, man, who runs the fantasy world? Running backs do. I'm sorry. Listen, I know you're probably a wide receiver guy, but a lot of guys have this mindset, and here's why. Let me just listen a couple of the names that were just absolute monsters for fantasy football this year, and I'm talking about all position, and most of these are the running backs. I'm talking about Todd Gurley, a guy that really killed me in the championship round in a lot of leagues this year. Todd Gurley. I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, C.J. Anderson, Kareem Hunt, Mark Ingram, and Alvin Kamara, that whole Saints running back duo going out there. These running backs were absolute money for you this year. And this is a trend that's going to not only be good for this season that we saw, that is going to go into next season, because guess what? In this next season, in the draft, we have so many other young running backs that are going to go into great positions, like Shaq Barkley that I like, that's going to go to most likely San Francisco. You got DJ. Dalvin Johnson, he's coming back. You got Dalvin Cook coming back from injury. These guys are going to be absolute money for you this year, for next season, and they were absolute money this year.
Yep. Jason.
I agree with all that, except I don't think Saquon Barkley gets past New York. I think the Giants will probably pick him up.
Really?
But hey, they need a good running. They need a workhorse, and I see him as kind of a workhorse for them. So that could work out pretty well at him at number 2. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
And of course, you know what? Draft season is amazing because there's going to be other guys whose names are going to start floating to the top, and you're going to see that. And Saquon Barkley is amazing, but you've also got Darius Geis is out there, and Bryce Love. I mean, you got some great talent coming up. So it's going to be awesome. All right, so I'll do my next one. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Man, talk about good. And if you look at this guy's stats from his first game with them to his last game, it goes straight up. I'm talking about like a wall. I mean, he went from
He is undefeated as a starting quarterback.
Undefeated as a San Francisco quarterback and as a starting quarterback.
Well, also with the Patriots.
Is money,
Right.
right? He is money. So I can tell you this right now. This is a guy you're going to want to look at. He is not going to get drafted very high, I don't think, because everybody's going to be looking at big names. So you can probably wait a little bit. I don't wait as long as Griffin, but I definitely wait a little bit to pick him up. But he's definitely someone I'm going to target.
I can see Griffin just biting his fingernails, hoping that he doesn't get drafted until he just pick him off of the waiver wire.
Oh no, there's no
I'll
way.
be able to get him in 14th round. No,
because I can already tell you, the bandwagon for this guy's already got so much momentum that we're talking about how he's going to probably be this awesome sleeper candidate. No, he won't even be a sleeper because so many people are going to be talking him up. So I bet he goes way earlier than we're thinking right now.
Well, remember that hype starts to die down as you get into the off season. So I expect it to die down just a touch.
A touch, but I don't think it's going anywhere, especially in a Kyle Shanahan-led offense. I mean, we saw Matt Ryan take 2 years to learn this offense, and Jimmy Garoppolo walks in the door and starts putting up fantasy startable productions right off the bat. Now with an off season ahead of him and another draft ahead of him and weapons and
Oh, and by the way, along with that little Jimmy G comment that we're talking about, Marquise Goodwin, I'm telling you.
Good.
Yeah.
That's his favorite target.
He took a sick hit on Sunday.
Yes,
oh my
he
God.
did.
He did. That was rough.
Yeah, Blake Countless, apparently he won't be suspended for the hit, but it's going to be reviewed for possible fines. But yeah, that was a vicious, legit old-school football-style hit. Like, dislodge the player from the ball type hit.
Am I wrong to go like, man, that was like a solid, like you got, it made you tingle a little bit. Like the old football.
I think for those of us who used to watch football where that was the norm, we're like, yes, there it is. But in reality, we're like, okay, in this time of player safety, we're like, ooh, that was
concussions. And
that
stuff
was
like
intense because we haven't seen hits like that. Well, yeah, it's been years since we saw consistent hits like that, and I don't know if players aren't able to, or they don't have the know-how to protect themselves like that anymore, or if we're just overemphasizing the past, and maybe that hit was way more vicious. But yeah, he was knocked out like cold on the field, so. It was a big boy hit. There's no denying that. But apparently he won't be suspended. So I guess it boils down to what the league thought. If it was like a boom boom, if it was targeting, if it was intentionally going for the helmet. I mean, I don't know what their reviewing policy is on it. So, but as of right now, no suspension. So
can I change my stars, Daddy?
we haven't referenced that in a while. So I guess my final one will simply be something you guys have kind of touched on as a whole, and that this has just simply been, and I think I've mentioned this on the Patreon show a couple times, we label every year as something, the year of the running back implosion, the year of this, that, the other. For me, this year has just been, and I think this works because you guys have both said this on your own, just a year of mass inconsistency from every position across the board. So many times did we have just amazing, unbelievable matchups, and it ended up being nothing. Or players that were on hot streaks, and we thought, okay, here we go, let's keep the ball rolling, and this is a good matchup here. It's not an outstanding one, but it's one they should succeed at, and they just get shut down. There was very little guys who were just good from week to week. It's all this up and downs, and I mean, obviously, as we mentioned, this is fresh off the season. We haven't been able to dive into any consistency rankings yet, but I'm going to be really intrigued to see the numbers this year and compare them to years past because this has been insane. So, I mean, if this was your first year of fantasy football, it's not always this crazy. I'll put it that way. I think we say that every year, but again, for a different reason. But especially, with your players and just not knowing who to bank on which weeks. It really came down to good matchups, knowing the players, knowing their potential, and just an astronomical amount of luck this year in some cases. So, yeah, I think that's how I'm voting to label this year. Let's see. CJ, your next one.
My last one, man, is look. Sometimes new faces and new places work. For me, when I went into this season, a guy and a couple coaches that I was actually very interested to see and how their effects would be on their teams. One was Sean McVay. We already saw that. We were talking about leading up before the season that he was a great offensive mind. He helped out Kirk Cousins, had great performances there, and we saw that. And heard that he wanted to get Todd Gurley more involved and let him be that beast we saw in his rookie year. Well, good gosh almighty. Not only was he that beast that he was in his rookie year, but he was even more. He was even more of a juggernaut in that offense, and everything Sean McVay touched in the offense he instantly turned to goal. You got Jared Goff, Robert Woods, Todd Gurley, like we were talking about. There was even some sparks where Tavon Austin was a guy, and he was doing some things for this offense. So that's one. Then Sean McDermott out there with Buffalo. There was some spurts out there that defense, and I know we don't really talk about defense a lot on here, but defense, you get good defenses, man. They score you good points, man. That's something to talk about. There was spurts in this time with this Buffalo's defense was having some great performances. And that this running game with Sean McCoy, that was a thing. Tyrod Taylor was having some good games. And that one. And my last one, with Anthony Lynn out there with the Los Angeles Chargers, he was making a good impact on that team. There was some stretches where Phillip Rivers was up and down, but he started to come into forward toward the middle of the season. So was Melvin Gordon. So was Keenan Allen. A great season for Keenan Allen and a healthy season of Keenan Allen, something that we like. And then Hunter Henry, my guy. He was a guy and a focal point towards the middle of the season before he got hurt. So once again, these new faces coming to new places I like. And one more for a future reference, man, Josh McDaniels. If he goes to the Colts, man, watch that. That's going to be a hot spot right there, and I think he's going to revive that offense, and we're going to start seeing some good points coming from that team.
It really was all or nothing. Like, there was no in between. It was either awesome or it did not work, and that was coaches and players alike. Like, there was no, the move happened. It was notable, good or bad. So, I'll agree with that. And Jason, take us home.
Well, interestingly, I'm going to take the other side of that argument and say be very, very careful with new faces and new places because certain things you expected to see happen did not happen. Marshawn Lynch is a perfect example. When he went over to Oakland, we were expecting big things from that offense. And for the first half of the season, it's like they forgot to hand him the ball. It's like, oh yeah, you're there. And then he got good near the end of the year. Same thing with Eddie Lacy. He moved over. We expected something, anything from Cheeseburger Eddie, and nothing happened. So, bottom line with new faces and new places, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just really comes down to kind of knowing those matchups and how that's going to work out. But also remember, sometimes it takes a little bit of time because, like we said, Marshawn Lynch got good near the end of the year. He started having some pretty good weeks. So, and I expect him to be even better next year if he stays with the team. So, I please caution when it comes to new faces and new places from this year.
Consistency helps. That's true. All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. Please make sure you guys tune in on Friday when we're going to be talking about our top starts for Wild Card Weekend. Now, as always, we're doing the NFL Playoff Challenge, and if you want to play with us, just search for The Fantasy Football Fanatics. You should be able to find us. We'll tweet out links and everything. But if you want to play against us in fantasy, your season doesn't have to be over. Just look for The Fantasy Football Fanatics on NFL.com for the NFL Playoff Challenge. As always, make sure you guys subscribe. Follow us every week. We're here every Tuesday and Friday throughout the offseason, and it's about to get good. It's about to get interesting. I know that's contrary to belief because the season's over, but, I mean, man, now we can really start deep diving on some things and start talking about some stuff. So it's going to be fun. Stay tuned with us. Take the ride. You can follow the show and interact with us very easily on Twitter at the FF Fanatics. I am at GPalmerFFF. CJ is at CJ Hickman89, and Jason is at Jason Cabrera 13. So with that, we're out of here. Any parting thoughts, guys?
Hey man, looking to defend my championship in this fantasy playoff thing.
Oh, yeah. CJ's the reigning champion in the NFL Playoff Challenge. So
I'm be reigning in something. Good God.
All right. Well, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Anything, Jason?
No, guys, it was a good season. I mean, it was rough. I know it was rough for a lot of you guys. It was definitely rough for me. I'm looking forward to the off season. Let's go.
All right. We're out of here, everyone. Take care. We'll see you on Friday. Bye.